Some final acts end in applause, others in silence. These shocking moments captured the last breaths of legends before stunned audiences. From comedians and wrestlers to fearless adventurers, these haunting true stories prove the stage can sometimes be deadlier than the spotlight itself. Tommy Cooper, 1984. And here's where it gets chilling. Legendary British comedian Tommy Cooper was mid-joke on live TV when he suddenly collapsed. The audience laughed, thinking it was part of the act, but the laughter turned hollow as he never stood up again. A heart attack silenced a comedy giant right before millions of viewers. Mitsuharu Misawa, 2009. This part shook the wrestling world. Mitsuharu Misawa, one of Japan's most beloved wrestlers, took a brutal suplex in Hiroshima. He never got back up. Fans thought it was scripted, but reality hit hard. He'd suffered a fatal spinal cord injury. The arena went from cheers to sheer horror in seconds. Steve Irwin, 2006. Now this one, it broke the world's heart. Steve Irwin, the fearless crocodile hunter, was filming at the Great Barrier Reef. A stingray's barb pierced straight through his chest, striking his heart. His crew rushed to help, but it was too late. Millions who grew up watching him were shattered that day. Carl Wallenda, 1978. High above the ground, the unthinkable happened. Carl Wallenda, the legendary tightrope walker, 73, was crossing between hotel towers in Puerto Rico. The wind swayed, balance slipped, and the crowd watched helplessly as he fell to his death. A career built on defying gravity ended in the most tragic way. Pedro Henrique, 2023. And just recently, Brazil mourned guitarist Pedro Henrique. He was rocking São Paulo's stage when he suddenly collapsed. At first, it seemed like exhaustion, but doctors later confirmed a heart attack. Fans who came to celebrate music instead stood in shock, realizing they had just witnessed his very last performance. Valencia Prime, 2022.
And now the details on Philadelphia's drag scene, which many say will never be the same again. 25-year-old Valencia Prime was hosting her drag show at Taboo in Center City this week when she suddenly collapsed on stage and later passed away.
This part still feels unreal. Valencia Prime, a beloved Philadelphia drag performer, collapsed mid-show under the lights she loves so much. Doctors later revealed heart disease as the cause. She was just 25. The LGBTQ+ community remembers her as vibrant, fierce, and unforgettable. Gone far too soon, right in her prime. Colonel Bruce Hampton, 2017. Talk about eerie. At his 70th birthday concert, Colonel Bruce Hampton collapsed on stage during the encore. His bandmates thought he was playing around, still performing as the crowd cheered. But when he didn't move, the truth sank in. The man who lived for music literally died with it on stage. Barbara Weldon's 2017. This one is heartbreaking. Barbara Weldon's, a rising French singer, was performing barefoot at a festival when tragedy struck. A faulty cable electrocuted her mid-song, and she collapsed right on stage. The audience, stunned, thought it was part of the act at first, but within moments, the horrifying truth became clear. Juan Jumalon, 2023. And here's where it gets chilling. Filipino radio host Juan Jumalon was live streaming on Facebook when an armed man stormed into his station. He was shot point blank while still on air, his audience watching in disbelief. The clip spread instantly online, making his death one of the most hauntingly public moments ever captured live. Sib Hashian, 2017. Fans on a rock cruise were celebrating classic hits when Boston's drummer Sib Hashian collapsed mid-performance. At 67, he gave his final beat behind the kit, slumping before stunned passengers. Medical teams rushed in, but nothing could save him. For rock fans, it was a surreal end. Music until his last breath. Dick Shawn, 1987. Comedy turned into tragedy in an instant. Dick Shawn, known for his wild routines, collapsed during a stage act. The crowd roared, assuming it was all part of his outrageous comedy. Minutes later, panic set in, It wasn't a gag, but a fatal heart attack. The laughter turned into shocked silence. Lillian Hardin Armstrong, 1971. Jazz royalty met her end on the keys. Lillian Hardin Armstrong, widow of Louis Armstrong, was playing at his televised memorial concert. She collapsed during the performance, her hands still on the piano. The symbolism hit hard, a jazz life beginning and ending in music, under the spotlight, honoring the man she loved. Krishna Kumar Kunat, 2022. In India, the beloved playback singer KK gave fans one last performance they'll never forget. Singing passionately in Kolkata, he suddenly collapsed from cardiac arrest after the show. Fans thought he'd simply left the stage, but soon the devastating news spread. A voice that defined generations of Bollywood music was silenced forever. Zoltan, 2016. Zoltan. This one remains clouded in mystery. Hungarian music star Zoltan was performing live on Swedish TV when he suddenly collapsed. Reports later claimed a massive heart attack ended his life instantly. But the chaos on stage, with the cameras still rolling, left audiences horrified. To this day, fans debate the strange circumstances surrounding his death. Kosta Titch, 2023. Johannesburg's Ultra Music Festival turned into a nightmare when South African rapper Kosta Titch collapsed mid-song. He fell once, got back up, only to collapse again and never recover. The entire crowd, phones raised, unknowingly captured his final moments. His death sent shockwaves through Africa's music scene, cutting short a star on the rise. Papa Wemba, 2016. The king of Congolese rumba, Papa Wemba, gave his final performance on an Ivory Coast stage. Mid-song, he suddenly collapsed, his band still playing behind him, unsure what had happened. Moments later, chaos erupted as medics rushed in. Africa mourned deeply, a cultural icon taken right before his people's eyes. Goodbye to Gravity, 2015. One of the darkest concert tragedies in recent history. Romanian metal band Goodbye to Gravity's pyrotechnics ignited a nightclub inferno. In minutes, the place turned into a deadly trap. 64 lives were lost, including 4 of the band members themselves. Survivors called it chaos, like a war zone, a night no one could ever forget. Irma Bula, 2016. This story sounds unbelievable, but it's true. Indonesian pop singer Irma Bula performed with a cobra on stage as part of her act. The snake struck her mid-show, sinking its fangs into her. She brushed it off, kept singing, and even refused treatment. Hours later, poison claimed her life. Dedication turned fatal. Tiny Tim, 1996. Known for Tiptoe Through the Tulips, Tiny Tim was one of the quirkiest voices in music. In 1996, while performing at a gala, he collapsed on stage from a heart attack. His ukulele slipped from his hands as the audience froze in confusion. Moments later, the eccentric legend was gone. Christina Grimmie, 2016. A rising star with millions of fans, Christina Grimmie had just finished her Orlando concert when tragedy struck. While signing autographs, a gunman approached and opened fire. She was only 22. Fans across the world were heartbroken. From YouTube to The Voice, her life was proof of raw talent, stolen far too soon. Dimebag Darrell, 2004. Metal history's darkest night, Pantera's legendary guitarist Dimebag Darrell was performing with his new band Damage Plan when an armed man stormed the stage. Within seconds, Darrell was fatally shot along with 3 others. Fans fled in terror. That night in Ohio changed heavy metal forever, a brutal reminder of life's fragility. Owen Hart, 1999. WWE fans will never forget this. Owen Hart was set to make a dramatic entrance from the rafters, descending by harness. But something went horribly wrong. He fell 78 feet into the ring in front of a stunned live audience. Millions watching at home saw history's most haunting wrestling tragedy unfold. Red Fox, 1991. The man who made America laugh on Sanford and Son lived his comedy until the end. While rehearsing for his sitcom The Royal Family, Red Fox suddenly collapsed. Castmates thought he was joking. His famous gag line was, "I'm coming, Elizabeth." But this time, the heart attack was real. Silver King 2019. A legendary Mexican luchador, Silver King, was performing in London when disaster struck. Mid-match, he suddenly collapsed inside the ring. Fans initially thought it was part of the show's drama, but when medics rushed in, reality hit. He had suffered a fatal heart attack. The crowd was left in stunned silence. Bruce Lee, 1973. The world's martial arts icon, Bruce Lee seemed invincible on screen, but behind the scenes in Hong Kong, he collapsed while filming. Doctors later revealed brain swelling linked to pain medication. At just 32, the dragon was gone. His shocking death left fans reeling and cemented his legend forever. These 30 heartbreaking stories remind us that even icons aren't immune to tragedy. From stages to arenas, their last breaths became unforgettable moments etched in history. Though gone too soon, their legacies continue to inspire, and their final performances will forever live on in the memories of fans worldwide. Drop it in the comments, and if you found this compelling, hit like and subscribe. There's much more coming.